Welcome back to Open Line as Chris manhandles two phones here.
Chris Cannon, former reporter, is just telling me that he's watching right now. also, someone named Josh up in Boston is watching, a meteorologist.
Oh, that's very nice.
We'll see. Maybe they'll call in.
I would say Chris calling because I'm about ready to ask him about his.
I know. I want to talk to Chris Cannon. I haven't talked to him in a while.
Well, come on, Chris, call in. The number's at the bottom of the screen. 615-737+ is the number to call.
And the Mid-State remembers Chris Cannon. I will say.
In fact, I've actually screwed up your names.
I know.
I've been tossing to
I will say. I mean, it is. I don't know if it's just because I've been here for a little while now or what, but I go to the grocery store, the Y. I mean, it is people in Middle Tennessee.
You're not off the clock.
Middle Tennessee love. They love Channel 5, but they also just love watching the news, and I think they really feel genuinely connected to people. And I mean, there have been instances where I've been like swimming laps at the Y, and people stop me to start talking.
I got a story idea for you. Come up.
I did at one time. I was at Walgreens on West End, and this woman, and I was walking out, and the woman at the makeup counter, I wish I could remember her name. She just goes, "Chris Conte, I need to talk to you." And I was like, "Oh no." So I go over and I said, "Yes," and thinking I did something wrong. And she goes, I have a story that I need to talk to you about. Can you come back here?" And I said, "Okay." So this is the makeup lady at Walgreens, takes me into the back room, into the break room. Right. And shuts the door and locks it, and she starts to tell me about how her and her husband have some land in Davidson County, and for years and years and years he was selling wood. And
I remember this story.
Yeah. And then the county came in and said they couldn't use the land anymore because it was in a right-of-way, and it was his livelihood. And so this poor woman, she's sitting here in the back of the Walgreens, crying, telling me this story, trying to get me to do it. Then someone comes in, like an employee comes in to like put their lunch in the fridge, and she's like, "Hold on, we're talking," and leaves.
Hold on, I'm kidnapping the news guy.
But it ended up being a really good story, and I'm very appreciative when people do that, because I think there's something to be said for being somewhere for a little while, because people feel comfortable enough to come up to you and talk to you and say, "Hey, could you do this story?" Or to just talk to you and say hi. Or, which even during some of those trials, like Holly Bobo and Vanderbilt rape, there was, I would like walk into the grocery store and they'd be like, "Man, know more." They're like, "Man, that was crazy today." I'm like, "Do you people not work at noon on a Monday? You're like live streaming this trial?" People,
and plenty of people were.
You don't realize, I guess sometimes because you're in it so much, you don't realize how invested people get.
Yes, absolutely.
And how much they care.
So that brings up, I do want to know if Chris Cannon, if you want to call in and add to this, if he is not truthful
Hi, if Chris Cannon calls in.
Most embarrassing moment on the air. Does anything jump to mind?
Well, there was that time last week when I just got up in front of Bree and did the weather by accident.
Oh yeah,
that was good.
That was good.
I walked out here with my tail between my legs.
You should know this by now. Don't cross in front of a camera in the studio.
That was pretty embarrassing. I'm trying to think of other times. I mean, my first market, I was like on air and I didn't realize I was, and they came to me and I was like, "No, I'm not up," and I didn't realize that it was there. I'm trying to think of other embarrassing moments. I mean, one time, because it kind of gets ingrained in your mind, I was standing out in front of the station here and I was live in a snowstorm, and I said, "We're live in downtown Rochester, blah, blah, blah."
Yes.
And it's like, no.
Yeah. Yeah, it just happens.
It happens from time to time.
You just are used to rattling it off. Those are not that bad. Those are really tame.
No.
That's not bad.
I'm sure I have some in my memory bank, but I've suppressed them all because I don't like thinking about them.
I can't imagine you doing anything else but this job, but...
Oh, pilot.
You didn't even let me ask that question.
I know what you're going to ask because I'm that good of a reporter. What would I be doing if I wasn't this? I love flying.
Really?
I love flying. I don't know what it is.
Have you ever taken flying lessons?
No. I would like to. I'm not sure because it's expensive. I love everything about airports. I love the smell. Like today when we landed, that smell of like jet fuel to me. I don't know, because I like going places and I like traveling, and it like there's something nostalgic and like visceral about being in a plane or being up in the air. Or even tonight when we were landing, like the lights, it's just so like runway lights to me are very soothing. And I think it would be cool to be an airline pilot, like a commercial airline pilot, because you'd fly different places and you'd fly people around, and it would, to me, it still has some similarities to this job because you're still just like always around people and always meeting different people. I don't know. Pipe dream.
Do it. Take some lessons. I'm not saying go be an airline pilot, but I think you should take some lessons.
Are you going to pay for it?
No.
Okay, well.
You've been here 7 years. Come on.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, why not? That's cool. Well, you do a great job up in the air, so I think that would be very neat. Yeah, it would be very neat. All right, so you answered that question even before
I'm still wondering why Chris Cannon hasn't called in.
He's too embarrassed, I think. I think that's probably it. Better he turned us off. But you can call in as well. We don't want to just leave the lines open for Chris, although I think we have 11 lines, so we have more than enough. 615-737-PLUS is the number to call. That is 7587. Taylor's in the back. He's lining up those calls. We've had some great questions already tonight, and I do appreciate that. Have you had those moments where you're like, I'm canning it, I'm done, this is it? Have you ever had that?
Just, more so days when like the technology doesn't work right, or you're just out there trying to make things work and it's just everything's against you, or it's like really cold, or it's really rainy, or there's never been a moment where I'm like, I'm not coming back tomorrow. It's just you get to the end of the day and you're like, I need a glass of wine.
Yeah. Oh, I'm told, I think that we have Rory on the line.
Rory.
Is this our Rory?
Of course it is.
Oh, Rory Johnston, how are you?
You think I'm going to let this hour pass and not call in?
No. Hi, Rory.
Mr. Conte, a hard time.
Are you out on your dinner break somewhere, or are you in the building?
Yes.
Okay.
Just enjoying dinner, watching OpenLine like every night.
As you do every night.
Look, I'm going to make it quick.
Okay.
Chris, we're friends, and everyone, you're one of the best reporters I've ever worked with.
Well, thank you.
But the traveling thing, I always make fun of you because you're always taking off. I want to know, and I think the viewers want to know, what is one place you haven't been that you really want to go, and why?
Good.
And I'm going to hang up and listen.
Okay, thank you. Hang up and listen then.
I would love to go. I've never been to Australia. That's on my list. New Zealand.
Yeah.
I sent something. I saw something the other day. There's like right now at Yosemite. There's that lava fall. It's the way the light hits the falls. I would love to go. Or like I would like to go back to Iceland and see the northern lights like in the winter. Just things where like I hate getting somewhere and you think it's going to be this really great, unique, like visceral experience, and then there's like tons of people there and you're not by yourself, so like finding those cool little spots I think would be nice. I went to Norway with Rory Johnston.
Yes, for a wedding.
Traveled there with him. He missed the train to our friend Amanda's wedding. He overslept with Chris Cannon, who still hasn't called in.
They both overslept.
They both overslept. But we had a really good time. My parents were there. We traveled around. We rode bikes together all through Oslo. It was a great time.
So cute.
I know.
Oh, hey, we have another VIP caller.
Okay.
Hi, Chris. Chris, are you with us?
Yes. First-time caller, long-time listener.
This is Chris Cannon.
Long-time listener and one-time host.
Yeah, exactly.
I never did OpenLine.
No, but you had your own little show.
I did. Yes, I did.
How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. So give us some dirt on Conte here. You guys have been friends for a long time.
Oh, let's not go down that road.
Yeah, that is a can we do not want to open. Tell everybody about the time in one of the Rochesters and you were driving the live truck and you knocked the antenna off the top.
Oh, I did. Yeah, one time.
You didn't get fired?
No, I didn't get fired, thankfully. There was breaking news and I was driving the live truck because that's what you do in small places. And I went to go out of the garage and I was too impatient and I didn't wait for the garage door to go up and it was just boom. And the mast hit the garage door and it came off. And you know what I got when I left from my chief photographer there? He gave me the top of that mast and I still have it at home. To remember the time that I ran into.
Very costly mistake for a station.
My news director was not happy.
Oh, that's a good one.
What else you got, Chris Cannon?
Let's see here. I'm trying to think of things that I can actually talk about on television. It's always impressive when you go to his apartment, he has all his Emmys just lined up on a shelf. I'm not even sure how the shelf stays on the wall. He has so many that he gives them to his parents and to his grandparents.
I did give my mom an Emmy.
Kind in that way.
You have to keep them Chris Cannon, would you like an Emmy?
I have one, thank you. I'm good. Appreciate
so good. I knew there was going to be a good comeback.
Well, you're more than welcome. I will say I miss having Chris Cannon around.
I was trying to remember where you guys
Chris
had your
Cannon
guests.
sat on the other side of the newsroom for me, and yet still managed.
From Nick Barrett.
Yes, still managed to lob insults and we had our moments in the newsroom. I think we had a few fights. I think it was like it was weekly that there was some kind of fight between us.
Let's talk about newsroom personality.
It is true, Chris Cannon.
Don't start a fight right now, guys.
See, now we're fighting right now, and you're not even here.
I would say newsrooms are notorious. Look, we even have Chris's photo up.
Oh.
This is amazing. This is amazing. Newsrooms are notorious for having big personalities, different personalities, and I think you guys fit that bill very well.
I always remember, Chris Cannon always used to get mad because he worked at night and he couldn't do things at night.
Yeah.
And he was here for like, what were you here? 40 years you were here?
42.
Yeah. So around 43, on his 43-year anniversary at Channel 5, Adam Gassimi left, and Adam Gassimi on his way out said, well, Chris Conte, my gift to you is going to be giving you a Monday through Friday schedule, because I was working Sunday through Thursday.
This did make you mad.
Chris Cannon be darned, because he came in and said, after working nights for 10 years, I actually want to work during the day now. And who had to stay on the weekends for 2 more years? Me.
It happens.
So thank you for that, Chris Cannon. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Respect your elders.
Chris, we do miss you around these parts, but we know you're happy.
Yes, very much so. I gotta work every day at 4:30. It's lovely.
Seriously, though, I do have a question for you. Do you ever miss going after the story or watch and say, oh, I wish they would have done this part of the story? Or not at all?
You know, when I first left news, folks like Adam Gassimi said, oh, that first big story, you're going to miss it. And I'll be honest, I really haven't. I haven't missed it.
He misses the people. He says he misses the people
at the station, but I don't miss covering news. This past weekend with all the rain, I did it for 20 years. That's a long time.
It is a long
time.
Yes.
And my very last day was the snowstorm.
Oh, yeah.
That.
I ever thought if I missed TV news, I'll think back on the snowstorm in 10 hours out.
Yeah, you were.
My problem.
Yeah.
Oh. Bless your heart, Cannon.
Chris, thank you for calling in. I appreciate it.
Be blessed.
Have a good night.
Good night. Oh, that's great.
I know.
Rory and Chris.
I know.
One show.
2 very good friends.
Aren't you glad you came on?
I am. And you know, I will say I've made some lifelong friends throughout this process through TV along the way. It is a fun journey.
It is a fun journey.
My chief photographer, guy by the name of Chuck Sibley from KTTC in Rochester, always used to say, television is not a business, it's a racket. And it is a racket. And if you're not surrounded by people that you don't genuinely enjoy and care about, then it makes it a lot harder.
It does. It does. Okay, we have to take one more break. We're coming back after this. Stay with us.